So last night I was going on social media, going on LinkedIn, and I saw that there was somebody that had all of these papers published within a year. And, um, they sort of made a comment about self-promotion on it. But what I realized when I was going through that, it did make me like, ugh. Um, because it's sort of reflection on yourself. And what I realize and I tell myself and I think through is that what they do is completely different than what I do. And there is very little way that we can actually compare ourselves together. And I shouldn't be comparing myself together. They're at a different school, a different institution. Um, their research is likely vastly different. There's all sorts of different things that are going on. Maybe they don't have, family at home, lots of different things that are going on that, frankly, we can't make ourselves comparable. It is the wrong comparison. And the problem with social media is that it pops up people that are similar but not similar, right? So I'm going to give you a comparison, right? And then we make these comparisons together, and then you sort of, you're inappropriately trying to learn from them. I'll give you an example of how poor these social media applications actually are in terms of judging who you are and the sort of character that you actually want to be. So there is this function on YouTube, and as I'm not sort of knocking YouTube in any sort of way, they're trying to do their best, but it's sort of a function of the complexity of what they're working with and the language that they're working with. But it gives you, sort of search keywords that people are looking for, but are underserved. And the the function that is given to me, and there's a bunch of keyword tools that are out there too. I've used them all, and they're all garbage. They all provide completely irrelevant, um, keywords to look up to help out, and maybe they're underserved, but they're not really relevant to you. Like they generate so much garbage that you have to go through, one out of 100 keywords that are given to you or said, hey, these are good things to talk about, are actually relevant to what you'd actually talk about, think about. So it's the same way when you're looking at, you know, social media, making your comparisons, is that you're being served people that are completely irrelevant to you, and you should not make any sort of comparisons to them. So one thing that has vastly helped for me is anytime, even just a little bit where I feel bad by looking on social media, I block those people. And so whether it is, people that are doing self-promotion, whether, they're saying just really weird things, I just block them because I just don't have time for any of that in my life. Now, I didn't block this individual last night. I should have, now that I think about it. But it makes my life that much better. And frankly, that's how these tools are meant to be used. They're meant to be actively engaged with. The stuff that it serves to you is irrelevant unless you actually work with it and train it to serve you the right sort of things that make your life happy. And the reason is that the algorithm serves you things that you get an emotional reaction to. So if you spend some time to it on it, for whatever reason, then it's going to serve you more of that. So it's going to serve you a lot of negative stuff because we pay attention to that a lot more. And it's going to serve you things that you sort of gravitate on because of our natural biases that we have. So the best thing that you can do is if something makes you feel icky, block the hell out of it. Like just go nuts. I especially through COVID, which was a spectacularly garbage year, right? 2000 was such a garbage year. I blocked so many people because, and that was the moment when I started doing that. And the reason why is it didn't make me feel good. Um, so I just block them. And I know that goes down some, the sort of silos that we have and all of that kind of stuff. But frankly, my life is too short to pay attention to, just people not being nice, people being self-serving, all of that kind of stuff. And you will notice that I try to avoid any of that stuff with the plague, like the plague. And if people want to find out what I'm doing, they can look me up. I'm not going to do any sort of self promotion. There's no way I'm going to do any of that kind of stuff because it doesn't make me feel good and it doesn't make you feel good. I'm going to focus on trying to make sure that you feel okay with who you are because that makes me feel good. When I see self promotion, I see somebody that's insecure and they have to talk about themselves. Um, and it doesn't, and I realize that maybe it does, hurt the career prospects and all of that kind of stuff. But frankly, I think it works complete opposite. I think it makes for me, if I see a lot of excessive self promotion, I feel icky and I don't want to talk to those people. So I just want to encourage you to really think about other people on the other side, um, but also really be active with how you actually feel when you're interacting with social media, how you, tailor it and work with it. All of that stuff is very, very important to you having a good life. And so this means that you actively engage with the world around you and not passively accept it as what happens, just things that come to you. So actively engage, right? Make sure you're focused on how do I feel at this moment and really train the things around you so that you can walk around and be okay and happy with who you are. And I'm not saying like it's hunky dory all the time, right? Like I think that that is completely unrealistic. But my life has gotten much better when I've started to engage in that sort of way. And that goes even outside of the virtual realm. If people make you feel icky, avoid them like the plague. And you don't need to be around them. They're not making you a better person. So avoid those people. Look for people that make you feel good inside. And that often for me is people that don't do a lot of self promotion, people that are just genuine, um, people that are curious about the world. I like nerdy stuff, like all of those kind of things. Um, that's awesome, right? I don't want to be around somebody that is so like self-promoting or so insecure that they have to constantly talk about themselves all the time. I think that that is not the way to go. All right. So hopefully you got something from this. Take care and have a wonderful day.